It's me, Alex, once again, and today we're going to be doing a sort of like a hybrid video. It's a pickup and a collection video. We already did a Sega Saturn one, we did a Wii U one. Now I want to do the Gamecube. So, okay, here we go. And the pickups, there's only a few, but pretty good games. But let's just get to the collection first. So first we have Mario Party 4. Now, Mario Party 4 is a pretty damn fun game that I have quite a few good memories with. You know, friends, old friends that I don't have anymore. It sounds really sad. But anyway, yes, we used to play this all the time, and I sometimes pop it in every now and then. I recently just did. I need to go against Bowser and his board after you beat all the other ones. So that was pretty fun. And the gameplay itself, I mean, it's Mario Party. You got your board, you got your dice, you got your items you can use. Now, there's no mini games for items, I should say. It's more so, what do you want to call it? You just go on the space and you get an item. Like, it's really weird. It's one of two mushrooms. It's like, okay, that's not as good as Mario Party 2 or 3, but whatever. The mini games themselves are all great, as far as I can tell. Like, I haven't seen any real stinkers. There's some that I'm like, not a big fan of that, but, it's not too bad. Pretty solid game overall. I wish there was some more stuff, like unlockable characters, unlockable boards, other than the one that you get to play as after you beat all the main story quests. So, yeah, Mario Party 4, not a bad game. Not a bad game whatsoever. Next is The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. Now, I also have this on Wii U, as you know, and this version, going back to it, it makes me wish, wow, I wish those quality of life things were on here, other than using a modded version on a PC. It looks great with the HDC, or the GCHD Eon, upscaler, firstly, and it runs, like, really well, too, in HD. And in terms of the gameplay, and when I think of it in terms of just a game overall, gameplay's great. Like, it's a more refined Ocarina of Time, in my opinion. And the story itself is fantastic. Like, it's one of the better Zelda stories, in my opinion. I mean, not saying that they're bad, any of the other ones, or whatever, but this is one that kind of sticks out a little bit more than the others for me. And, yeah. Fantastic game. Again, I wish the quality of life things were here, like the swift sail, being able to move when you swing with your grapple hook, just a few other little tiny things that they fixed that make the other version a better experience. But if you want to play the authentic, experience, go right ahead. It's like $70. Yeah, fine. Next, and this is also no order, so you're going to see franchises jump around, probably. Next is Pokemon XD, Gale of Darkness. Now, this was something I was super anticipating, because as a kid, I finally was able to... This was 2006 when this came out, I think. So, a little bit before the Wii came out. And, man, I was so excited for this freaking game. Maybe actually it came out in 2005. Well, it doesn't matter. One of the 2 years, it was one of them. And after playing Colosseum, and I liked it a lot, surprisingly. A lot of people didn't really seem to care for the Gamecube Pokemon games, but I like them both. This was really fucking good for me. I was like so excited to play it. You have no idea. Like, I remember getting it too as a gift and all that stuff, and just pouring hours and hours, as far as I can tell anyway. Because they don't really say, well, actually, no, they do, but I don't have my original file anymore, so that kind of sucks. And it has, so it's basically, your Pokemon-styled game in terms of gameplay. Problem is, there's no wild Pokemon in a, what's the word I want to use? Normal sense, I guess. Traditional sense. You have to like put some stuff down, like treats or something, and come back later when your P-Star DA, I think it's called in this, goes off, and then you're like, okay, whatever, let's go see what it is. And it's a limited amount of Pokemon that you can get in the wild, so that's kind of unfortunate. But you do have things like Shadow Pokemon, which do make it kind of more interesting. And you have to purify them, and when you purify them, they get a bunch of experience, depending if you actually battle with them, or if you have EXP share all, or whatever. And then, yeah, it's pretty damn nice when you finally get to, you know, purify these things, especially when you purify this one. It's super satisfying, and it's the only way you can get Lugia in at the time for Gen 3. So that was kind of interesting. He was supposed to be in, I believe, Fire Red and Leaf Green internationally, but I don't think it happened. Now, next is a game that we've just been talking about, and it's actually a really freaking good game. Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2 Plus. And what I love about this game is that it has 4-player split screen. And I have experienced the 4-player split screen, and it is fan-frickin-tastic. And I honestly wish I could say, go out and get it, it's fantastic, get this version. Play with your friends. Well, I think you have to play with your friends on this version, but this is the Plus Edition that has all the extra content, I guess. That was, well, not all, but most of the extra content that was not in the other versions that you have to get stuff online for. But yeah, fantastic game in the overall in terms of the gameplay. It's pretty okay, and it's just like a weird grind that makes you kind of just want to keep going and going and going and going. And again, with friends, it's so much fun. I wish I had the online adapter so I could figure out how to get into some private lobbies. That'd be pretty nice. So again, fantastic game. I recommend it if you can get the, any version. Honestly, that's the GameCube version. Don't get the Dreamcast versions at this point. I mean, maybe you should, but I don't know. It's up to you. Next is Pokemon Colosseum. This was a big deal for me because I was like, ooh, a proper console Pokemon game. Wow. And I'll tell you what, it was a pretty polarizing experience, but it was also kind of fun because there was no wild Pokemon at all in this. Very small areas, usually. And it was just trainer battle after trainer battle after trainer battle. And it just felt like there wasn't any variety. I know you could say, well, they want Pokemon. And the other games, you could, the only difference is you run into Pokemon in the wild grass. Well, the thing is, this isn't a very explorative game. That's kind of the problem with the GameCube games. They're great, but they don't have any exploration, which can kind of kill your curiosity in terms of, like, coming back to it, looking for everything. Because it's all pretty freaking easy to find. So, I mean, yeah, it was definitely an early Pokemon game in terms of the acting as like a single player experience. The game has like N64 graphics, I swear to God. Sometimes, like, some of the character models look like they were N64, but just like, sharpened up and all that. And the Pokemon themselves, maybe, well, minus Gen 3 Pokemon, are all just from Pokemon Stadium. They just took the old models and just made them look a little nicer. I did not realize how bad some of the models of like Pokemon looked back then, like Eevee. Oh my God, Eevee looked awful in this game. So yeah, great game overall, though, in my opinion. And one thing I didn't actually mention with these is that these have the Game Boy Advance compatibility right here. And what you would do is you would take your copy of Emerald, Sapphire, Emerald, Sapphire, Ruby, Fire Red, Leaf Green, and put them in your Game Boy Advance. Take the cable, plug it into Player 2, and you could actually trade Pokemon from Colosseum or XD, same. I can't speak today, but you could trade Pokemon from that game into your Game Boy Advance games, or Pokemon from the Game Boy Advance games into the console games. And Colosseum and XD were some cases of where that's the only way you could get certain Pokemon in Gen 3 at the time. But now, there's no reason really to do it, unless you want to just do competitive battles and Mount Battle or something. But I can't think of any reason to do it now. So yeah, it was a cool feature for the time, and you can also take your Pokemon from the Game Boy Advance games and go through Mount Battle, and when you win in the Colosseum, you get a freaking ho-oh, and it gets transferred to your box. It's pretty freaking cool. Make sure you have an empty spot, because if you don't, you won't get it. You have to do it all over again. I didn't know that, but thank God I had some space. Next is Luigi's Mansion. One of my favorite damn games of all time, if not one of my favorite Gamecube games of all time. It was a launch title for the Gamecube, and a lot of people didn't like it at the time. I didn't really know. I was like 6 years old when the fucking system came out, so I don't remember anything about that. So all I knew was, oh, I know Mario and I know Luigi. Maybe this will be cool. And I thought it was pretty fucking cool. And, you know, it's a short game, and it's fun to just play through it one day if you feel like it. I've been trying to get the highest score that you can get. I think 150,000, or million, sorry, is the cap. But I decided, you know what? I'm gonna try. I've gotten to 125 million, so I'm almost there. So again, a short romp. It looks great, upscaled by the way, and it controls great. It's just a fun game. Definitely get it, but again, these GameCube games are going up in price. I hate that, like, so much. Let's see. Next is Sonic Mega Collection. Now, the superior version, a lot of people will probably come out and say, is the PS2 version because it has more stuff. I have a lot of nostalgia attached to this. Like, experiencing Sonic, 3 for the first time on a console was neat, because I grew up with the PC version, and I had to listen to the PC music. So I heard it in this. I was like, I don't know what the hell this is, but cool. And then you have like Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Sonic Spinball, 3D Blast, and a few other hidden games. And it was just such a nice collection at the time. For like, especially for someone like my age. It's like so many games, and like a lot of previews for upcoming games, and a history retrospect of this game was in here. Like the franchise, not just the game. So, again, great collection. This one is cheap, so honestly, I would recommend picking it up if you want to experience the classic Sonic games in their like original form. I wouldn't say get this version, but I don't know. I mean, you can get Sonic Origins, but that's like the altered version, so I don't know. That's up to you. So, again, great collection. Great collection. Let's see. Next is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and Master Quest bonus disc. Alright. This was apparently a pre-order. If you pre-ordered, I think it was Wind Waker or something, you'd get this and something else. Well, there's another pre-order bonus where you get like Ocarina of Time, Zelda 1, Zelda 2, and Majora's Mask. But this was just like a thing where it's like, hey, this has the Master Quest version in it. Want to try it? And Master Quest is pretty fucking hard, if I'll tell you one thing. But it's pretty fun, honestly, going through altered dungeons and having a different perspective of these areas, and just the altered, not altered, but the way you would think about things is quite different compared to what you would do in a normal Zelda game. Like it just sticks out. You're like, what the hell? How would I think to do that? But, you know, you just figure it out. Or you could look up a guide. Sometimes I would do that. Well, actually, I don't think I did do that for this game, but some games back then I did. And the final game that I have in my collection, other than these 3 pickups, is Paper Mario: The ThousandYear Door. Now, this is a game I've been putting hours into lately, and I just recently beat it. I got like all the badges, all the tattle logs, and I beat the pit. I think I beat the pit of 100 trials, beating Bonetail, getting that badge, and holy shit, that was fun. And just going through it itself, the game is just fantastic. One of the best RPGs on the system. And man, I wish they would just remaster this game already because it's so damn good that and people can't access it easily because it's going up in price. It makes me mad, but what are you gonna do? So you have like the stage battle system where like you go on a stage and then you select turns and then attack enemies and then they attack you back with their turns. You block or do a perfect block where you attack them back and you don't get hurt at all. So that's kind of neat. Story is fantastic. I'm not sure if it's the best in the franchise because I haven't played through all of Super Paper Mario. But again, very compelling story, even though it's kind of simple looking back in some cases, but it's still told well. So that's a good thing. Would I recommend getting it in these current prices? Maybe, because it might get worse. So, yeah, definitely think about it. Alright, that's a fantastic game. That's a collection. Now it's time for the pickups. Oh, actually, that's a lie. We still have a few more games. Oh no. They're down on the bottom shelf. Let's see what we got here. We've got Super Mario Sunshine. Pretty good 3D platformer for, Mario, I guess. It's not the best game, but it's not the worst game. I have a lot of nostalgia attached to this. If I didn't, I don't think I'd like it that much. So it's kind of polarizing. But I don't really have a lot to say on this because everyone's played Mario Sunshine, I imagine. And not everyone, but now everyone, yeah, because it's on the Switch. So it's, again, just an okay game. Nothing great, nothing horrible. Then we have Sonic Riders. This was honestly not bad for the 15th anniversary. Oh my god, that was such a bad year, 2006. Ugh. But yeah, it's all right once you know what you're doing and get the hang of everything. It can be very fun and very satisfying. But if you have not played it in years and want to get back into it, you're not going to be able to do it. It's too fucking hard in some cases. I don't know why it is, but it's an alright game. Just give it a whirl. I mean, it's nothing great, but nothing terrible either. So let's go with Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut, and it's a great. Not great. It's a pretty okay version of Sonic Adventure 1, especially at the time. You had 60 FPS in the gameplay and instant loading times. No longer would the music repeat itself every time you move to a new location. It had Game Gear games in here. It had Metal Sonic as an unlockable character, which was kind of cool at the time, but now you can just get this game on PC and just get better SIDX, and you'll have like the widescreen Dreamcast like models and textures. It's great. And other things that were left out were put back in. So that's pretty cool. Pretty good game though, overall though. Next is Metroid Prime. Honestly, a game I can't get into. I have to keep trying though, because I know there's a great game here, but I just cannot. I just can't like it. Like, I cannot like the controls. I don't know why. It's just so weird and clunky, and I don't know. Maybe I like the Wii version better, but it's a good game. But I don't want to say I hate it because it's not a bad game at all. It's just not for me, apparently. And let's see, the final game here is Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing, it's not too bad. Looking back at it, it's pretty dated, but it has a lot of interesting things like NES games that you can play by putting in codes or whatever, or using the e-reader at the time, which was kind of neat. And it's pretty much just kind of like a life sim sort of thing, and you talk to your neighbors, you do like things for them, and they become your friends. Hold on, what the fuck? And yeah, you own your own house, you have to pay it off, and it's a ridiculous amount of money, so basically you're just spending your entire time paying it all off. And once you do, you get like a statue of yourself in the plaza. How nice. And yep, that's about it for now. If you play Animal Crossing on Switch, it's pretty much like this. Although that one's better. Alright, so now So, sorry if these cases look like shit, but retro game stores, they don't really do too well with their cases. But these are the pickups that I got yesterday. And 2 out of 3 of these are pretty damn good. So let's start with the okay one. The okay one is Hunter the Reckoning. Now this is rated M, which is pretty strange for a Nintendo game, being on Nintendo. And it's all right. It was one of the more expensive games that I picked up, like $50. I'm not sure why it's so expensive. Not so expensive, but why it's 50 damn dollars. Maybe I got screwed. Who knows? But it may go up in price one day. It's an all right kind of game. I did co-op as well, and it's just sometimes it just goes on way too long, and it's very simple. You got your main gun attack, and you got your melee attack. It's super simple, but it's okay for getting your friends together to play through it, I guess. But I don't know, just it's an alright game. I wasn't really feeling it too much, but that's to be expected, I guess. Not every game is a hit. Next is one I've never heard of. It's on other consoles, but this version is the more expensive version, and that's Metal Arms Glitch in the System. This was about $40. I mean, that's probably fair enough, considering what I played. A few levels was really, really damn good for what this is. Like, it's just a no-name title, and it slaps pretty hard. I mean, it's got some frame rate issues, but I can move past that. It's like an over the head, like over the shoulder, like third person shooter. The analog control for camera, oh my god. For Gamecube, it's so good. Like most Gamecube games with the camera are kind of clunky and kind of weird feeling because of the stick, but they nailed it, and it's pretty damn fun, honestly. I haven't gotten haven't gotten too far into it. There's over like 30 over 40 missions in this game in order to beat the story. So that's pretty nice. And you can unlock multiplayer stuff, and that's more of like a competitive thing. So if you like to go against your friends, you'll like this. If you want something that's similar to what I can think of, like somewhat of the like a Ratchet and Clank hybrid, like with it's more of a I don't know, kind of like Ratchet and Clank, kind of. So it's a pretty good game overall. Definitely, I'd say pick it up if you find it for cheap. Just go for it, man. And finally, a game that I spent 6 hours straight, maybe more, to do a mission, the first mission, on very hard mode. And I can't do it. And it drove me insane. I did the races. And it was good at first. Then it got incredibly difficult to the point where I rage quit. Not really rage quit. I was just like, yeah, I'm done for right now. Let's take a break. Let's not break the controllers. Is F-Zero GX. And let me tell you, this is a fast freaking game. And it is fun as F. Like, F-Zero, ho. But yeah, it's pretty damn good, honestly. Like, you got 4 players, you got a bunch of characters to unlock. You got your story, which is kind of eh. Obviously, this isn't really, who cares about the story about an F-Zero? And the single player stuff, you got your Grand Prix, you got your time trials, and you have, mission story. And the story has the first damn mission in the story on very hard is nearly impossible. Nearly. Because I've seen it done, and I almost did it, and I just, oh my god. But the core gameplay is amazing. Like, again, fast as hell. And just the feeling of how fast you go is really damn fun. Like, and turning and using the trigger buttons to like move around is great. Having the Y button be your boost is perfect. So like you're holding your thumb on A and you can just quickly tap forward instead of having like on the N64 having to. Well, actually, on the N64 you can just kind of lay your thumb on it. So, it's weird. They call the other game F-Zero X on the N64. There's a G in this for Gamecube. And I didn't know about this, but on the back I learned that if you have access to F-Zero AX, which is an arcade racer, which I didn't know existed, you could download stuff from AX into GX. I was like, what? That's a cool fucking concept. I like that. But the problem is, arcades are dead in the States. I've never seen one of these in person, and I don't think there's probably a lot out there, honestly. So if you were lucky enough to get those memory card things, good for you. Dump the files online. But you can also unlock AX characters by doing the very hard missions in the story mode. That's why it's that hard. It's either do the arcade thing or do this, I believe. But there's other extra things like parts and stuff that you can get for your cars. That you can make. Not just modify other existing vehicles. Can't do that. So, yes, again, pretty damn good game, but a fucking hard one. I'm jokingly saying this, but I also kind of sort of mean it. It's the Dark Souls of racing games. You can unsubscribe now for having to hear me say that. So, anyway, my name is Alex, and I'll be seeing you next time. Farewell.